Hello? Hello?
This is a message from Ascension Medical Group Pulmonary, 8330 Knox Road, Suite 340. Para escuchar este mensaje en español, oprima el 8. An appointment is scheduled for Nicholas on Monday, December 14th at 9 a.m. Please press 1 to confirm that you will attend this appointment, or press 2 to request rescheduling. Thank you. It is important that you contact our office to reschedule your appointment at your earliest convenience. Goodbye.
Allison, can you hear me? Hey, David, can you?
Oh, there you go. Okay, you should be good. Um, I just jumped in here because it looked like there was a technical issue. Are you good to go?
Yeah, I don't know what was going on. I had it all pulled up and nothing was
Okay.
happening.
Okay. You look like you're good to go. Everybody who's on the call should. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Everybody looks like Nick's ready to go. I'll wait here, Nick, just in the background to make sure everything's good. But looks like you're up and running.
I don't see anyone on the call.
Um, I do see people in the chat right now, so
Okay, I'm not seeing the chat. I hit on participants and it's just you and me.
I don't know if they stepped out. I see people in a chat, but I don't.
Yeah, because it wasn't, I mean, I was in, but I wasn't getting anything.
I'm not sure. If you want to just go ahead and continue with the session, at least we can get it recorded. And we're good. We should be good. Looks like, yeah, it looks like there's people in there chatting. They're saying they're here. So.
Does I have a glitch?
It must be a glitch, but you're good. People are messaging in saying, "Hey, we're here." So go ahead and get started.
Even though I can't see him?
Yeah, I'll make sure and get someone in to monitor it. But yeah, you should be good.
Let me share my screen then.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for being patient. Nick's going to get started just now.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm sorry I can't see your names right now, but thanks for coming to the session. This session is to learn more about equal opportunity schools, action for equity, and what a partnership would hold for you and your school district. And I do not see a chat box, so I wish I could make sure you can see my screen. David, you think we're good to go?
Yeah, I think we are all set. Are you using a Chrome browser by chance?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, then I'm not sure why you're not seeing it, but yeah, you're good to go. I can see your screen.
Okay. Will they be able to interact with me, David?
I'm going to see if I can get someone else in the room to monitor the chat for you. So I don't know why you're not seeing the chat. Do you see a little arrow in the top right-hand corner of your screen that might be a pop out, a little chevron on the top right-hand side, a little blue box with the, click on that blue box with the arrow on it.
I've been doing that. It doesn't really change anything for me. I had the chat box earlier and then it went away.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'll see if I can get somebody else in here to monitor the chat for you and make sure at least there's questions. If there's questions, they can ask them for you.
Will they be able to talk to me, the participant?
Yeah, they will.
Okay,
not the
great.
participant, not the participants, but another moderator will be able to relay that to you.
Okay, so. Well, I hope to get that rectified so I can see the chat box. But everyone, welcome. Our mission is very clear at EOS. We are looking to find partners, high school partners, and amplify the equity work that you're doing by finding with your team, your high school team, students of color and low-income students that are capable but missing from rigorous high school courses. It's a four-phase process, but the steps we go through and the tools that you get with us, we create absolute opportunity for students of color and low-income students by leveraging your data with our analytics and high-quality partnership directors to amplify the equity work you're doing. And we build and sustain adult capacity for equitable learning environments. We're working to develop a gradual release model. We do that with our partners. To date, we are in 31 states, over 700 high schools across the United States, amplifying their equity work. As I said, with the partnership, you get real-time actionable data, student-level insights with the Student Insight cards, which I'll show you here in just a little bit, an equity-focused PD for your teachers. And the PD that we provide is not about instructional methodology. It's about working with your teachers and their mindset towards students of color and students of low income, working through their implicit bias, working to understand better the students that will be coming into their classroom and the direct outreach that we have in the partnership with you. The why of the work, I think many of you probably know because you wouldn't be on the call attempting to learn more about equity. We know through our surveys that we've done across the United States that there are 750,000 plus low-income students and students of color missing from challenging courses across the United States in our high schools. We also know the why of the work. There is a significant gap in Black and Latino students in college completion courses and completing college in general. And this data that you're looking at here if you're student, Asian student in a college situation, you're 71% likely to graduate with a degree. Black students at 23%, Hispanic Latino at 21%, and white at 44%. So we know there's a gap for Black and Latino students in college completion. We also know across the country, the story is no different for students in AP and IB courses in our high schools across the United States. White students are 1.3 times more likely than Latino students to be in an AP course in a high school in the US. And white students are 1.8 times more likely than Black students to be in AP courses in our high schools across the US. One thing that we've done at EOS that I think is very impressive, working with 211 districts in 31 states, we've gone very deep into the data. And that 640 number has jumped over 700 with our partners this year. We interview all the administrators in our partnership, over 90,000 staff, and 2.9 million students. And the purpose of this slide is to let you know that we listen and we go deep into those participants and our partners that we work with, because we want to know what the administrators, staff, and students think about their high school, about the challenges and successes within their high school, but also, are there barriers in their high school for students that prohibit them from getting into these courses, these rigorous courses, AP, IB, and in Florida, Cambridge, which is becoming a significantly challenging course that propels students onto post-secondary opportunities. As I said, we have a national impact that is now over 700 high schools, 31 states. Proud to say 43,000 first-time AP/IB students have gone through courses, students of color, and students from low-income families in our partnership. And we've maintained a stable AP/IB pass rate in our partnership. Now, those of you on the call today, we can do a gap analysis for you, for your high schools, complimentary, just to kind of take your data and give you information back on the representation and enrollment of students in your courses. This is a partner of ours from California, and this is the pre-gap analysis we did for their high schools prior to the partnership. And from left to right, as you can see, we have the median high-income white Asian students are disproportionately enrolled in AP/IB courses across the United States, and many times become the benchmark for the rest of that school. In this example, pre-partnership with Corona Narco, we had 34 missing low-income students, white and Asian. In the Hispanic Latino, we had 295 median high income and 391 low income. Median high income Black African American students, we had 57 median high income and 49 low income. In all of the races, we had 4 and 8 respectively. Now, what this tells us from left to right is, for this to be a school that is an equitable school, and a high school of equity, which is 1% of the high schools across the US, we would need to find 838 missing students, so there would be an equitable representation of each demographic in these rigorous courses. So after a year in the partnership, Corona Narco, we found approximately 1,000 students with them. And to note, AP/IB pass rate remained unchanged. So it's not just about increasing the number of students in your AP/IB courses. It's about your students continuing to have success in passing the AP/IB test. So I hope that there can be a chat in here. Allison, you've joined us. Thank you. I'm unable to see the chat, Allison. Allison is our tech support here. So if someone could facilitate the chat back to me, that would be much appreciated. So in the partnership, this high school, the high schools in Corona Narco in California, entered into one of the 1% equitable high schools across the US because they have a equitable participation in the AP/IB courses across their high schools. So that's the why of the work. The why is we know where to find them and we know the challenges that we face. And remember, our surveys indicate 750,000 plus juniors and seniors across the US, students of color, students from low income, are missing from these rigorous courses. The how of the work is that we are actually a partnership. We're not a product. You will be assigned a partnership director to your high school to go hand in hand with you to elevate and escalate and amplify your equity work. So it's not like we give you a program, you're on your own, and you get supportive contact. Not it at all. These are real people working directly with your equity teams at your high school to help you process manage and project manage. They will facilitate the surveys that take place in the fall for your students and staff. They will orient your leadership team to the equity work that we do with you, and they will be very intentional about the work that goes into this partnership. I was meeting yesterday with a group from Wisconsin, the superintendent and his leadership team, and we were talking about what the partnership would afford them and how it would work with their leadership team. The partnership director would work directly with your high school to work with you to find out who should be on your equity team. Teachers, school counselors, principals, assistant principals. It is your team that the partnership director will help you assemble. They will then train and work with that team to build the capacity in your team to gradually release the equity work back to you. Our goal, honestly, is to work ourselves out of a job. We want to build this capacity in your high school so that you do not need us to be there to facilitate this work. And just to give you a glimmer into year one, which in our conversation would be fall 2021, we have a fall study. That's where the surveys are administered. Winter strategy. The strategy is to make sure there's intentional outreach to students of color and students of low income by you and your staff to make sure that they are enrolled in rigorous courses for the fall of 2022. And then spring support to make sure that all the supports are there for the students and your teachers as we prepare for students to come into their classrooms next fall. And again, just to kind of get into more detail on the fall study, again, we're talking about fall of 2021. We're building capacity in your school. There'll be a data collection, which consists of student and staff surveys. There'll be data collection that will build your equity pathway report. The partnership director will work with you, as I said, to put together and format and assemble your equity team. And the first thing before school even starts next fall, the partnership director would conduct a leadership orientation and a partnership launch at the school. A little glimmer into the type of questions and scope of our surveys: student surveys on the left, staff survey themes on the right. We want to know from your students their dreams, aspirations. What are the barriers? What's their sense of belonging? Do they have supports? Do they know? Is there an information gap? And we want to know from your staff, why do they think some students are not in their AP and IB courses? We want to know if your staff wants to teach AP or IB. We want to know if they want to be involved in outreach. We asked your teachers directly to recommend students that they've had either in their classes, or maybe they've coached them, or they've had them in a club that they think should be recommended for an AP or IB course. In the winter, we backward map from when you enroll kids in your courses for next year. Many times it's often January and February as you're getting students in their classes for next year. We create outreach plans with you, student recruitment, provide target lists for students, provide student insight cards for each of your students that takes a survey, and as I said, an equity pathway report. That pathway report is very detailed on student and staff perceptions of your respective high schools. The other thing that we talk about in the partnership is addressing systemic barriers that may have popped up in your equity pathway report. And we want you to know this equity gap isn't vague or insurmountable. Students are literally 20 feet away many times from AP and IB courses, sitting in general courses in your high school classrooms. And in our surveying, staff who report classes are challenging and very challenging across programs, you can see that broken down, as well as staff who report that classes prepare students well or very well for college. And I did download a copy of this PowerPoint, and I hope that it's accessible to you If not, please let Allison know, and I'll make sure I get that to you. But it should have been in the when you logged on. I put it in last night. The other thing I want to highlight is in the survey, and again, we've surveyed over 2 million high school students. In our portfolio, 92% of the students that we survey in our partnership in 31 states, the students say they want to attain a 2 or 4 year college or advanced degree. So student aspirations are clear. They want to go on to a 2 or 4 year college. And also compare that to the staff estimates. Our staff surveys indicate they believe 68% of the students in their classroom would like to go to a 2 or 4 year college. So right there, there's a disconnect between what students in our portfolio say they want to do and what the staff think they think students want to do. So part of our work is to bridge that gap, to make sure we can shift that adult mindset in your high school teachers towards students of color and students of low income, coupled with simultaneously working on making sure your students feel like they belong in your high school. So student belonging and adult mindset shift is really critical throughout the partnership. We've also, as I said, surveyed staff over 90,000 and asked those teachers that teach students every day, what are the greatest predictors of student success in AP courses? It's student motivation and subject interest. As you can see, GPA and test scores are the two lowest. Now, I'm in my third year as regional director for Equal Opportunity Schools. My goal and my mission is to find students, partners high schools like you, so we can find students of color and students of low income and get them in these courses. Prior to my work with EOS, I worked in public schools for 31 years, 28 of those as an administrator, 16 of those as a superintendent of schools, and 11 of those years as a superintendent, I served as a superintendent outside of Chicago in DuPage County. And what really drives me in this work is I learned very early in my career as a superintendent that there were some perceptions of staff related to students of color and students of low income that I just did not think were accurate. I worked very diligently to make sure we remove those barriers in our high school, and had the great privilege and humbling experience to have first generation high school graduates walk across the stage getting their diplomas in the high schools that I served for 11 years in Chicagoland. What drives me is to find more high school partners that share that mission and share that vision so that we can find more first generation high school graduates to change the trajectory not only of their life, but the life of their families, their parents and their siblings. That's what really drives me in this work. As I said earlier, you will get a student insight card for every student in your high school. To me, this is the gold standard in holistically looking at students as opposed to looking at them as a number. We look at them with you as a person. And this is electronically accessed, which means that you'll be able to look through your portal and look at every student that is enrolled in your high school. And this is Chloe Adamson. You get her name, you get her picture, you obviously get test scores, but remember, those are the two lowest predictors of success in AP. We asked Chloe, what's your aspirations? What do you want to be when you get out of high school? She wants to be a teacher. She wants to go to college. We asked each student if they have trusted adults in the high school. In this case, Chloe does. She has 2. Many times in early partnerships, that will be blank, which then will drive the equity work, because we want to know if students have trusted adults, because we know that matriculates into students feeling like they belong in the high school. In the partnership, you could go into the student data portal and do a query on how many students in your building report they do not have a trusted adult. That'll give you a list, which will then drive your equity team's work to ensure that you outreach to these students to make sure they have a trusted adult on campus for them. As you can see here, we have 3 apples. That indicates that on the staff surveys, 3 teachers were saying they've had contact with Chloe either in a classroom situation or a club or sport, and they believe that she should be in an AP or IB course. They're recommending her. So, across the United States, school counselors, and this is not a negative on school counselors. I think they're fantastic. I think they have and many times an insurmountable task because their caseload is generally 1 counselor to approximately 325 students. That's the average across the U.S. And they do their level best to make sure that students not only, get their test scores, make sure they get their graduation requirements, make sure they know about post-secondary opportunities. They do their level best. We make this about the whole school, and we want teachers right here to be in that outreach to help lighten that load for school counselors. We ask students subject interest. We want to know if they have readiness skills. We have embedded Carol Dweck's work at Stanford into our student surveys, and contingent on the response by the student, it tells if they have demonstrated these assets. In this case, Chloe has. We want to know the barriers. The 2 top barriers, should not be a surprise to us, is lack of student information. They don't know what they don't know, and they've had no adult encouragement to take an AP course or a rigorous course. We asked each student to comment on their experience. In Chloe's case, she struggled early in her high school career because she was bullied. But now, as you can see, she wants to be the first in her family to graduate from a 4-year college. And she just would like to take an AP English course to see if she likes it and see if she can do it. So I want to pause here. Allison, are you getting anything in the chat? Or
Nothing yet.
okay. Participants, I just would, if you would react to this, because I know I saw this 3 years ago, and as a former teacher, principal, and superintendent, I would have loved to have this kind of knowledge about every student in my classroom as a teacher, in my building as a principal, and in my district as a superintendent. So if you can chat any feedback, that'd be most appreciated. Okay. If you're wondering what the next steps are, we are EOS. We're a nonprofit out of Seattle. We look to bring on at least 80 high schools across the United States annually into a first-year equity partnership with us. We ask you to complete an application because it is a competitive matching grant. We want to give you money to amplify your equity work, and you match that with either your local general funds and or Title IV funds, or you could partner with your education foundation or a local foundation who values equity work and wants to be a part of that mission with you. 1 of every 4 applications annually has been received and receives a matching grant. That's based on 11 years of EOS serving and amplifying equity work across the U.S. So the day is our conversation at December 10th. We would like a data submission before winter break. And again, that data submission is no cost to you. We take your data in AP, IB, and Cambridge of your juniors and seniors, your enrollment data, put together gap analysis like I showed you for Corona Narco, complementary. We'll unpack that data with you. I will unpack that data with you, or my colleagues. I work with high schools from Minnesota down through the Midwest into Florida. So if you're in those states on this call, you'd work directly with me. I'd like to then schedule a leadership meeting with your team in mid-January and like to get your application by February 15th so you can be one of the 80 high schools across the U.S. that is a recipient of a grant and can be a partner with EOS as we help find your students of color and students of low income and make sure they not only know about these opportunities, but get them enrolled and have success in your rigorous courses. Long-term partner of ours, Rossville Joint United in California, the superintendent said, All students graduating from their high schools are not going to be doctors, lawyers, or even go to college. Yet, all students deserve an opportunity, and we are the gatekeepers to that opportunity. We can make that difference. So if you're sitting there today looking at your student population and you're not pleased with the number of Black and brown students that you see in your AP and IB courses, we can be that partner, that thought leader, and action leader with you, equity leader, to change that in your high schools. So, Allison, how many participants do we have? Because that's not coming up on my screen.
We are looking at a nice handful.
Okay.
I'd have to have kind of a head count, but thank you to Mike Sickles for saying good stuff. We haven't had any questions as of yet, but we've got probably a good about 15 to 20 people.
Since I don't have a chat box, Allison, can you chat if anyone wants to contact me directly to get the gap analysis? They can just send me an email at nick@eoschools.org.
Absolutely. I'll put that in the chat right now.
Thank you, Allison. And if anyone has any questions, please chat those to Allison and she'll get them to me.
Sounds good. Anything else, Nick?
No, it's just nick@eoschools.org. Please send me an email and I'll be happy to meet with you via Zoom and do a gap analysis of your high schools. Sound good?
Sounds great. Thank you, everyone, for attending this session.
Yes.
It will be recorded, and I'm sending out Nick's contact information in the chat as we speak.
Thank you, Allison. Thank you, everyone, for attending and enjoy the conference with Blue Ribbon. It's a great organization. Very proud to be part of their conference this year. Thank you so much. So, Allison,